So that's a brief history of computers up until the present day. Computers are not a recent thing. They've been around for an awful long time. The principles behind a computer were laid down by Babbage and Ada Lovelace a very long time ago. Now, we're going to do a little bit of computing work. So I'm going to give you a little problem, and we're going to work through this problem together. Is everybody up with me so far?
Yeah, mate, in the book, it doesn't go to this PLC problem. Is this just an extra bit, is it?
Okay, in the book, let me just find the bit in the book where this is.
Got it. I don't know what the page number is, mate. I don't have page numbers. It's PLC exercise 1.
Right, I'm just looking for it myself. I know it's a bit sort of around all over the place in the book, so I'm just looking for it. But yeah, it is PLC exercise 1, which, okay. Alright, which lives around about page 303. Now, I've slightly changed things since I wrote the book, but we can still follow along. Okay, what we're going to do is I've got these 3 pumps. They're called pump X, pump Y, and pump Z. I'm going to build a pump monitoring system, and I'm going to monitor these pumps using relays. What we're going to be doing is relay logic, because going from relay logic to PLC logic is really easy, and it's an exercise I want you to do. So we're going to work on relay logic of these 3 pumps, X, Y, and Z, and I'm going to monitor these 3 pumps. So, there's my 3 pumps. The first of the pumps, which is called pump X, I've got a little timer on that. Nothing special, one of those little timers you can buy at Bunnings that just turns something on and off. And that timer is designed to turn that pump on at 9 o'clock in the morning and turn it off at 5 in the afternoon. Now, in the event of that pump not running, I can go up and manually start one of the other 2 pumps. With the first of the pumps, pump X, because it's my main pump, I've also got a little auxiliary contact, a little auxiliary switch mounted on the contactor, so that I can tell whether the pump's been asked to start or not. With all of these pumps, I'm going to monitor the pump status using a CT. Now, does anybody not, or let me know, do you know what a CT is? Okay, so a CT is a current transformer, right? I like to use CTs to monitor pump flow. There's a couple of reasons why I like to monitor pump flow using CTs. The first reason is because it's a nice solution. A CT is a small piece of plastic that doesn't go wrong that sits inside the switchboard. If you want to monitor a pump running any other way, you have to mount something physically on the pump. Either put a DP across the pump, or put one of those bloody awful paddle switches in the pipework. If you put anything on the pump, it will break. Sooner or later it will break. Sooner or later the pump will need to be serviced. When they service that pump, they'll rip all the instruments off it, and then that will probably be the last time you'll ever see them. So the nice thing about the CT is able to tell me whether the pump is running or not, and it lives inside the switchboard where it can't be damaged. It's nowhere near the field. It's nowhere near whatever nasties they happen to have inside the pipework. So in my mind, the CT is the best solution for monitoring pump flow. So I have got CTs on all three of my pumps, pump X, pump Y, and pump Z. They've all got CTs on, and I'm going to build a monitoring system. Now, this is the I/O, the input-output I have for my monitoring system. I've got an input coming from the auxiliary switch on pump X's contactor. I've got an input coming from the CT flow switch on pump Y. I've got an input coming from the CT flow switch on pump X. And I've got an input coming from the CT flow switch on pump Z. Output-wise, I'm going to light 3 lights. The first light is going to be called pump X fault. The second and third lights are going to be code bits. Now what that means is, the code bits, the way it works is, the first light will go on if pump X is in fault. If pump X is not running properly for some reason, the red light it's going to be will switch on to say I've got an alarm. The other 2 will be a code bit, and that code will tell me how many of the pumps are running. A little drawing which might explain things. So, this is my switchboard. This is the door of the switchboard. And on the door of the switchboard I've got a red lamp, which is the pump X alarm. I've also got 2 green lamps. And underneath that I've got a treffolite label. And on my treffolite label I've got a little drawing which explains how it all works. When both the green lamps are off, that indicates that none of the pumps is running. When the second green lamp, this one here, when the second green lamp is on, that means one of the pumps is running. When the first green lamp is on by itself, that means 2 of the pumps are running. And when both of the green lamps are on, all 3 of the pumps are running. Now this is a code, and by reading the code we can see the different statuses. Now what I could have done is I could have just done 1 green lamp for each pump. But by doing it in a code form like this, instead of having 3 green lights, I only have to have 2 green lights. And the more pumps there are, the easier it gets. So this is a code which allows me to give lots of statuses, but with only a very limited number of lights. This whole concept of a code is used throughout computers and throughout instrumentation, where you have these alarm LEDs on virtually every circuit board. And when the circuit board goes into alarm, you look at the pattern of the LEDs, it could be on, off, on, and you look that up in the manual and it tells you, oh right, the fault is this, the input circuitry is wrong. So this is a code, and we can read this code off on the treffolite label and it will tell us how many of the pumps is running.